Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to deep dive into numerology by explaining two of the most foundational and powerful numbers, number one and number two. These numbers represent very different energies, yet together they form the basics of balance, creation, connection. In numerology, understanding them helps us better understand ourselves and the people around us. So let's begin with number one. Numerology of number one. Let's start. Number one is the beginning. It represents insight into creation, birth, and the spark of individuality. Okay? And it's the number of leadership, independence, and self identity. The number one energy is bold and transformative. It's the energy of standing alone and stepping forward and saying, "This is who I am." The people with strong number one energy, whether as a life path number, a destiny number, or repeating influence in their charts, are often natural leaders. They are driven, ambitious, and determined. They don't like to follow the crowd or the rules, and instead they want to make their own. They carve their power into their own path they're creating. Number one is associated with confidence, originality, courage, and intuitiveness and strong willpower. This is the energy of pioneers, entrepreneurs, inventors, and visionaries. Number one is often an inner push to first lead or create something new in yourself. And however, every number has both strengths and challenges. Number one's energy is balance. It shows up as healthy, confident, and self belief. But when it's out of balance, it can turn into ego, stubbornness, impatience, and isolation. Number one can sometimes struggle with asking for help. There's often a deep belief of, "I have to do it on my own." But you have to learn to collaborate. And humility is one of the key lessons that a number one will have to learn. On a spiritual level, number one teaches us about self-trust. It reminds us that we must first believe in ourselves before we can lead, inspire, or support others. So if number one is prominent in your numerology chart, your soul lesson often revolves around learning how to use your personal power wisely without leading but without dominating. So standing strong without closing yourself off from others. All right. Now we can move on to number two right now. The numerology of number two is very different from number one. If number one is the energy of self, then number two is the energy of connection. Number two represents partnership, balance, harmony, and cooperation. Where number one stands alone, number two reaches out. This number is deeply sensitive and intuitive, and it's usually associated with empathy, diplomacy, and emotional intelligence. The number two energy is gentle but powerful, and it quietly influences rather than forcefully influences others. People with strong number two energy are often peacemakers, supportive and caring, intuitive and emotionally aware, and excellent listeners, naturally cooperative with others. And number twos really strive and thrive in relationships. They want to grow closer. These individuals are often happiest when they feel connected, whether in friendships, romantic partnerships, family, or teamwork. However, number two also comes with its own challenges. Because this number is so focused on others, it can struggle with its boundaries. And the people influenced by number two may put others first to the point of neglecting their own needs. They may avoid conflict, suppress emotions, or struggle with self confidence. When out of balance, number two energy can show up as oversensitivity, indecisiveness, fear of rejection, and dependence on approval from others. The key life lesson for number two is learning that harmony does not mean self sacrifice. True balance comes when you honor both your own needs and the needs of others. Spirituality, number two, teaches us about unity and trust. It reminds us that we are not meant to walk this journey alone and that meaningful connections are a vital part of our own personal growth. The relationships between number one and number two is what makes these numbers so special and intriguing. It's how they interact with each other. Number one says, I am, and number two says, we are. Together, they represent the balance between independence and connection. In life, we need both. We need the confidence of number one to know who we are and the sensitivity of number two to relate to others with compassion and understanding. When these energies are balanced within a person, they create someone who is both strong and kind, confident yet cooperative, and a leader who listens and supports those in their circle. Someone who knows their own worth. In relationships, number one often brings direction and intuitive insights, while number two brings emotional depth and harmony. The challenges arise when one energy overpowers the other. Too much independence without connection, or too much giving without self assertion. Applying numbers one and two in everyday life, you have to understand these numbers aren't just theoretical. This is practical applications. So if you resonate with number one energy, ask yourself, am I leading with confidence or ego? Do I allow others to support me? And am I creating space for collaboration with others? Now, if you resonate with number two energy, reflect on, do I honor my own needs as much as others? Am I expressing my emotions honestly? And do I trust my intuition? Numerology helps us reorganize these patterns, not to label ourselves, but to grow with awareness. So number one and number two reminds us a fundamental truth. Life is about balance. We are here to discover who we are and also how we connect, to stand in our power and to share it with others, and to lead when necessary, and to support where needed. And as we continue to explore numerology, each number will reveal another layer of understanding about ourselves, our relationships, and our life path. Thank you. I'll see you guys later.